Hey everybody, Rhadamant here for another episode of Desert Survival, episode 57. So, a few things to start. We left off with Santiago going home, but she's basically right at an incapacitated refugee quest. I'm going to stick my head and poke in. I can always flee if I need to. What else is going on? Rob Rose mentioned that for the dusters that I'm making, I should add in the hit point requirement that I have on all the other clothing. So I'm going to raise it up to 90%. And I'm going to bring the other ones down to 90%. I'm going to do a little bit of adjusting. Toques don't matter, because they're all fresh. No one needs to wear toques out in this terrain. It just wouldn't make sense. So Santiago is poking into this incap refugee. The problem is it's threats unknown, which usually means ambush, which usually I'm not all that about. Now, fortunately, Santiago runs real fast and has a shield belt, and she could probably get herself out of almost any ambush. But we'll take a look anyway. Oh, it is someone that even their clothing is going to get them killed. Slowpoke Pyromaniac, too smart. Yep, I think I'm just going to leave. As much as I'd like to, you know, help a Hin Hatter. That's a big old no. Reforming the caravan. And I can hit up the Gambin tribe, Gamaban tribe, on my way back for trade. That wouldn't hurt. Never hurts to check a incapacitated refugee quest, but sometimes it's just not that great. Now, one of the positive things about all these bugs that I just got is we will have kibble for days, in fact, even fine meals, because at some point we're going to run out of regular meat. Now, I believe I got a Dumbo drop of meat right at the end here, but I probably already scooped it all up while I was not looking. So Quell is deep in the mountain. And I might as well go over some of the other tips I received. Another one from Rob Rose, which is when the Devil Strand is ready to be harvested, I should flick this on so as to not botch any of the harvests. That's a pretty good call. And Alias Sabbath mentioned to check the refugee, but obviously that refugee was bunk. Not someone I would ever want added to the group. So big ol' forget that. I'm going to set Omni to Tailor. We're starting to get a fair amount of cloth. Enough for... for 16 toques or so. We are continuing our research into shipbuilding, which is always good. Now, a lot of people have been mentioning that I should get a proper bed for Santiago. The reason I've been so hesitant, maybe hesitant's the wrong word, but is because I sort of expect to have a new relationship happen between Mudge and someone, Omni and someone. I am actually someone in disbelief that it hasn't happened yet. Yes, I haven't put them in the same room together and make them all interact. Maybe I could do that, but that would certainly help the group out if we had need for one fewer bedroom. And we're refilling our kibble. I think I'm going to pause it for now. I think what I'm going to do is butcher the smallest insects first, as it's more efficient that way. And I'll let Roman make this kibble, and then we're done with kibble. Look at all these toques getting thrown about. In fact, what I'll do is butcher these small bugs forever. They take up a lot of room and they don't offer a lot of meat, so I might as well go ahead and do that. Santi is just fine out here. The small mountains are definitely slowing her down, but you know, that happens. Now, I did have someone suggest that I pod back. The problem is we're in a one colony only challenge, and I can't build a second community. Part of this challenge, of this desert challenge, is I am to source all of my resources that I have for shipbuilding here. No long range mineral scanning, none of that stuff. Yes, that's more difficult, but that's kind of the point, right? I'm not known for taking the easy route, even if it's the most sensible. We're getting our steel back up, which is good. Real good, in fact. There's some more of it over here. And there's a whole lot of other types of strip mining I might be able to do. Looks like there's steel underneath this floor here. I don't know why they'd... Usually the map, the sort of auto-generated map won't do stuff like that. $23 meat per scarab. Okay. Yeah. They're definitely not worth keeping around stacked up. I'm gonna need to find more plasteel nodes. Now, if I look at the ground penetrating radar, the smaller the spot is, the more likely it's plasteel. So, oh, we get some rain. It's pretty rare to get rain. There's no wildlife here other than myself to enjoy it. But I enjoy it nonetheless, due to its unbelievable infrequency. Now, Omni here, how many toques has he done already? 22 out of 72? That's not bad. We definitely will need to trade for some more cloth. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is set up dusters made of materials that I'm not likely to wear, like this elephant leather. And that way we can set those up to trade. This rain has lasted a good long while. Got our brand spanking new and improved kill box. And the melee. We don't have the traps down yet. That's something I can always add in if I feel the need to. We're always sort of gaining a bunch of steel and then struggling with the fact that we used it all. I'm in a constant sort of pendulum of having steel and then not having steel. I think one of the things I'm going to do just to speed up the movement around the cave system is to install all these glow pods back here. I can't really think of a much better use for these glow pods other than to allow them to mine out a little bit easier. Or to rather commute a little bit faster, I should say, which would be more accurate. And of course, Mudge forgets to grab steel on his way back. I do have 200, almost 300 uranium. Additional uranium wouldn't be a bad thing because soon I'm going to want to make the reactor as I'm researching that now. And, you know, it's sort of uranium, high uranium requirement for such an object. You know, for a subterranean species, you really think that spiders would not need to have the adaptation of, like, glow pods, right? You'd figure, oh, they can just see in the dark fine. Well, this double strand is 99% done. Getting pretty close to having 100%. It's exciting. Now, another thing I could do is to craft up another pants and shirt of hyperweave for yet another melee. I don't know why I deleted that before. So for the longest time, we've been using travel wear. And the travel wear is mostly for... Alright, so 45... We'll just have enough. The travel wear is mostly for the temperature effects that it provides, but... it is not as ideal as the protection that hyperweave provides. Okay, here we are at Gamma Band or whatever it's called. And they really don't have much in the way of trade. It's good to know that I can always pick up some wood here. But even granite blocks wouldn't be terrible. Not that I can carry any currently with my pawn. Cloth would be very good. In fact, I'm going to buy all their cloth. And I still have the carry weight for it, fortunately. And I'll be home in one day. And that cloth will allow for some additional tuking, if I can turn that into an adjective. At this rate, it appears as if my clothing stockpile has overgrown its original size. So what I can do is shrink down the kibble one and expand the textile one. Eventually, the amount of toques I have are going to be ridiculous. Oh, another AI core. Oh, that's pretty close. I could go for that one. Now that I'm finally thinking about actually building a ship, it would make sense after all. So I don't expect to be able to store all of my toques in here, but you know, some of them. Okay, the best, let's see, the best possible grower is earth. I don't really want anyone else harvesting the Devil Strand just because it's so rare. I don't want them screwing up the harvest. So I'm going to only allow earth in there. I locked the door behind him, so he's able to harvest it without any interruptions that we wouldn't want. We have the shirt and pants that I'm going to make Omni wear. We're also going to need to change his restrictions to blunt armored, probably. I'm not sure what he is doing now. Blunt armor doesn't require or include dusters. I could fix that. Okay, looking good. Santi is just a stone's throw, but she's resting. Alright, Earth, sorry for locking you in there a little long. And of course, this double strand will go straight to high protection. I think initially it will go to a bunch of cowboy hats. I'm just making sure that nothing else is queued up to make from double strand, and it's not. Okay, that's good. So we're out of the elephant leather for dusters, but we can make one button-down shirt with it. Oh, that is not a smart way to walk, Omni. Jesus Christ. Alright, Miss Santiago is back. Flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour, like she does. We have our res serum. And some more plasteel, which is always very welcome in this community. She is set up to eat anything, so she's grabbing lavish meals and sleeping in a bed, a wooden bed. So we do have a lung here, and that took a while to get. But I think it's gonna go to Mudge. A right lung for Mudge. So even though Mudge is currently asleep, he's going to be transported over the hospital. So half the asthma. Yep, half the asthma. It's weird to think that you can replace lungs like that, but I'm glad you can. Makes our asthmatic champion half as asthmatic. Oh, for a second I thought we were using some specialty cloth, but this is just the color of the cloth that we bought off the tribals. I had a mini heart attack. We're definitely ripe for some some inspirations here, no doubt. Looks like we're ready to continue mining. Unfortunately, this is out of the map bounds, so I can't put any glow pods up there. It's too far. I think we could also probably do some more kibble. So what I'll do is I will do kibble until we have 300 of it. So we're always making enough that we need. Looks like we have some milk that's going to spoil. I'm just thinking about ways to store it better. I'll call this animal products. Put it as important, and raw food of animal products. But probably not insect jelly. I really don't ever plan on cooking with insect jelly. It sells for a lot. And we're already getting more camel hair, which is good because that's mostly what we're using our clothing for. Now, looking at hats, I do want to get 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cowboy hats out of this double strand. So cowboy hats, do 9 out of the devil's strand. And a lot of them are wearing actually the elephant leather dusters, which I didn't really expect to be the case, but that's fine as long as their temperature hasn't tanked terribly, because clearly the camel hair dusters are, oh, these are all camel hide dusters, so I can actually understand why they switched. And I'll be able to go and sell those camel hide ones because they're not quite as good as what we're looking for. So slowly people are replacing their old hats with the new ones. Santiago has a very impressive bedroom now. I'm sure you're all very happy. In fact, she's far enough away from usually where people open doors and walk around that she's probably not disturbed all that much. I say that as she's disturbed, but switching a hat doesn't happen too often. Now checking my toques, 34 out of 72. We're just about halfway there. This should not include insect meat. That's an important distinction to make. And we're also currently not growing any psychoid because we shifted this over to cotton. So that's something I can fix. All right, instead of grabbing these piecemeal, let's haul them in. All but 3. And this will be enough cowboy hats for everybody. The squall doesn't need one. Great. I have no idea. We're about to deplete their last little node of uranium here. But we've gotten our uranium up to 400, which is pretty good. We have an abundance of advanced components and steel and clothing. this community is healthy and thriving, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So I will definitely be cracking open the AI stash, but I think what I'm going to do is send Santiago on a bit of a trade mission first. So I would, looking at the current temperature, I will send camels as well, just in case of weight. And Santi. Oh, I guess I need to launch all three. Who knew that Pudge and Fudge would be heavy? Alright, and now let's pick out these dusters that have been worn. As far as weapons go, I think I'm going to make a better chain shotgun than that. I do have this architect arm that's just laying around that isn't really serving us any better. We should definitely use that is what I'm trying to say. These old cowboy hats that nobody's going to want. I'll keep a few of them, because they're not all terrible. Making sure that I'm not bringing any toques. Although, even if I do, I can choose not to sell them. And then... yeah, that looks... oh, let's bring the go juice as well. Have some real bulk to our trade. And a bunch of this... a bunch of the silver. Or all the silver, basically. I can most certainly shrink this weapons stockpile down. And I should probably move this orbital trade beacon, given that we don't want it sitting right there. How long do we have for these toques? Almost no time at all. Okay, so I think what I'll do is, although it pains me to do this, allow the double strand, the camel hair to be used for the toques as well, because we have almost no time. And well, I will use up the cloth first, but obviously we're going to be having to tap into other materials. I kind of let that slide for a bit. It was a very lofty goal, the amount of toques that they were asking for, but ideally we'll be able to fulfill it, because the Helomech serum is going to be very, very instrumentally important. And as much as Omni wants to sleep, I don't think I'm going to let him, because we're running out of time here. Alright, transport pods are nice and full. I'm going to launch the group to the closest place possible, so that we can possibly buy some additional cloth if we need it. Okay, so we have used up all of our cotton. It's time to tap into more important materials that I'd ideally not want to use, but have very little choice. They have Archo leg. They don't have any lungs. I can go down and sell all the stuff that I was intending to bring. And I could definitely buy the leg, no issue there. That's always great. And then they have a bunch of cloth that I can bring back. Okay, that seems about fair. I would have wanted more plasteel, but c'est la vie. Now we're entering back in 1.8 days, and the trade for this stuff is about 1 day longer. So actually, Omni, let's hold off on... I'll finish this one, because we don't get refunded the full cost. The amount of toques that I am sporting is kind of silly, but that's just the way it is. I will change the do until you have. Cowboy hats. Oh, this is the old cowboy hats. Okay. Yeah, we have plenty of cowboy hats. For now, from here on out, I'm going to make cowboy hats out of devil strand or camel hair. And then this all will be camel hair for insulating properties. But, guys, I'm actually out of time. So this episode was a pleasure bringing it to you. I appreciate all of the comments and feedback I've been getting. If you have any questions or feedback of any type and you want me to read it, drop me a comment or hop on Discord and find me there. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you tune in next time. Adios.